On Monday night, the President of the United States went on social media and told the world something that nobody, not his generals, not Congress, not Iran itself, not a single journalist, had been permitted to say publicly before that moment. He had planned a very major attack on Iran. It was scheduled for Tuesday morning. Nobody knew. And then Donald Trump canceled it. In a Truth Social post on Monday evening, he wrote, "We will not be doing the scheduled attack of Iran tomorrow." The price of oil fell in real time as that sentence appeared on screens across the world. And tonight, as you watch this video, Trump's top national security team is convening inside the White House Situation Room to discuss what happens next if the diplomatic window he just opened closes without a deal. Welcome to the Intel Room. Tonight we are going to break down the most consequential 48 hours this war has entered since it began on February 28th. A secret attack plan. A last-minute phone call from 3 Gulf state leaders. An Iranian proposal that Washington calls insufficient, while Tehran claims America is already giving ground. A Situation Room meeting happening right now. And a 48 to 72-hour window that could end this war or restart it at a level nobody has prepared for. Before we go any further, drop a comment right now. Did you know that Trump had secretly planned a very major military attack on Iran for Tuesday morning before he called it off? Because the fact that nobody knew, not Congress, not the press, not America's own allies, is the most alarming part of everything that happened yesterday. Let me know below. Start with the attack itself, because understanding what Trump was secretly planning tells you more about where this war actually is than any diplomatic statement from either side in the last 2 months. Trump described it on Monday evening as a very major attack. Not a targeted strike, not a limited precision operation. A very major attack, scheduled, planned, ready to execute on Tuesday morning. He had not told Congress. He had not briefed the press. He had made no public announcement that any such operation was imminent. The only signal the world had was a Truth Social post on Sunday evening where he wrote, "For Iran, the clock is ticking and they better get moving fast or there won't be anything left of them." 24 hours later, the attack was planned. 24 hours after that, it was canceled. And the way it was canceled, publicly, on social media, in a post that immediately moved global oil markets, tells you something extraordinary about how this presidency conducts its most consequential foreign policy decisions. Trump said he had planned a very major attack but put it off for a little while. Hopefully, maybe forever. Hopefully, maybe forever. Those words are not the language of a man who has decided peace is coming. They are the language of a man who has paused a countdown timer and is watching the clock. Now let us talk about who stopped the attack, because this is the most revealing detail in the entire story. Trump said he was calling off the attack at the request of allies in the Middle East, including the leaders of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. YouTube Trump explained that these nations requested a short window of 2 to 3 days because they believed they were very close to finalizing a deal, leading him to put the attack off temporarily in hopes of a lasting diplomatic breakthrough. YouTube Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates. 3 countries that have been under Iranian attack throughout this war. 3 countries whose airports, oil facilities, desalination plants, and nuclear infrastructure have been targeted by Iranian drones and missiles since February 28th. 3 countries that have every reason to want Iran militarily weakened, and yet called Trump personally to ask him not to strike. Why? Because these 3 countries understand something that Washington has been learning slowly throughout this conflict. Every time America strikes Iran, Iran strikes back. And the closest available targets are not American cities. They are Emirati airports, Saudi oil refineries, Qatari desalination plants, the infrastructure that keeps tens of millions of Gulf residents alive in one of the most extreme climates on Earth. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE are not asking Trump to be weak. They are asking for 48 to 72 hours because they, the people who pay the heaviest price every time the military exchange escalates, believe they are close enough to a deal that the risk of another 48 hours without an American strike is worth taking. That belief, held by 3 governments that have been on the receiving end of Iranian aggression throughout this war, is the single most important signal about where the negotiations actually are right now. Tell me in the comments, do you think the Gulf states are right? Do you think a deal is genuinely close? Or do you think Iran is buying time? I want to see what the intel room community thinks about this. Now let us get into the details of what is actually on the negotiating table, because this is where the gap between both sides becomes visible and where the next 48 hours will either close or widen. Washington presented Iran a 5-point list which included a demand for Iran to keep only one nuclear site in operation and transfer its stockpile of highly enriched uranium to the United States. YouTube, one nuclear site. In a country that spent decades building a deliberately distributed nuclear program, spread across multiple facilities, buried underground, dispersed across the geography of a large country, specifically to make it impossible to destroy in a single military strike, reducing that entire program to one operational facility, and then transferring the most sensitive nuclear material, highly enriched uranium, directly to the United States, the country that just launched a war against Iran 3 months ago. That is not a negotiating position in the conventional sense. It is a demand for the permanent and verifiable dismantlement of Iran's most important national security asset. Iran responded yesterday with an updated proposal through Pakistan, the agreed mediator for these negotiations. And here is where the picture splits completely depending on who you listen to. White House officials said Iran's updated proposal is not a meaningful improvement on past proposals and is insufficient for a deal. Insufficient. Not a meaningful improvement. These are the words of an administration that looked at Iran's updated offer and determined it does not move the needle enough to justify the pause Trump just gave diplomacy. But a senior Iranian official told Reuters something completely different. He said the United States is softening its stance. He said America has agreed to release a quarter of Iran's frozen funds, billions of dollars held in international accounts since the sanctions regime began years ago. He said America is showing greater flexibility in allowing Iran to continue some peaceful nuclear activity. Read those two positions together and you see the exact shape of the gap. America says Iran has not meaningfully improved its offer. Iran says America is already giving ground, releasing frozen money, allowing some nuclear activity to continue. Both of these statements can be simultaneously true. America may be offering limited concessions while still finding Iran's proposal insufficient. Iran may be highlighting American flexibility while still refusing to accept the core demand on nuclear infrastructure. Two sides, both moving, neither moving far enough for the other. That is where the negotiations stand tonight. Here's the detail that changes the entire meaning of everything else happening right now. Two sources confirmed to reporters that Trump is expected to convene his top national security team inside the White House Situation Room today to discuss military options. Today. While the 48 to 72-hour diplomatic window is running. While Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE are working their back channels with Tehran. While Iran's updated proposal is being analyzed by American officials. The Situation Room meeting is not a contradiction of the diplomatic pause. It is how these moments actually work. One room in the White House dedicated to ending the war through negotiation. Another room in the same building dedicated to planning what happens if negotiation fails. Both operating simultaneously. Both being staffed by serious people with enormous authority. Both carrying consequences that will affect the lives of hundreds of millions of people in the Middle East, across Asia, and across every economy connected to the global energy supply that runs through the Strait of Hormuz. This is an extremely fluid and high-stakes situation. The entire Middle East is watching every development in real time. The intel room is watching with them. Now let us connect this diplomatic moment to the physical reality on the ground. Because what happened in the hours surrounding Trump's announcement reveals how unstable this pause actually is. On Sunday, the day before Trump canceled the attack, a drone struck the Baraka nuclear power plant in the UAE, the Arab world's only nuclear facility. 3 drones came from the western border. 2 were intercepted. 1 hit an electrical generator on the outer perimeter of the plant. The fire was extinguished. No radiation was released. But the International Atomic Energy Agency expressed grave concern. The UAE called it a treacherous terrorist attack. Nobody claimed responsibility. That attack happened while Trump had a strike planned for Tuesday morning. The same day, the Gulf states called Trump to ask him to hold off. Iran or Iranian proxies struck the UAE's nuclear plant. Think about that sequence from every perspective simultaneously. From America's perspective, Iran or its proxies are attacking nuclear infrastructure of America's closest Gulf ally on the same day Trump is asked to give diplomacy 48 more hours. That is either a provocation designed to trigger the attack, a rogue operation that Iran's leadership did not fully control, or a deliberate signal that Iran's maximum pressure campaign continues regardless of diplomatic communications. From Iran's perspective, America had a very major attack planned for Tuesday morning. Iran's nuclear plant strike, if ordered by Tehran, was a demonstration that Iran can reach sensitive targets even while ceasefire conversations continue. A reminder of what escalation costs. From the Gulf states' perspective, they are being attacked by Iran while simultaneously asking America not to attack Iran. That is an extraordinarily difficult position to maintain politically. Every drone that falls on Gulf infrastructure while they are vouching for Iranian negotiating seriousness undermines their credibility with Washington. The nuclear plant attack, the Gulf state phone calls, the Situation Room meeting, the canceled strike, all happening within the same 24-hour window. This is not a war that is winding down. This is a war that is holding its breath. There is one more development that the intel room needs to address because it has appeared in the coverage without being properly explained. Iran has in recent days suggested that it might next seek to impose control over the subsea cables running through its waters, which provide internet and transmit data to a number of countries in the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. KJ reports, subsea internet cables. The Persian Gulf and surrounding waters are crossed by a network of undersea fiber optic cables carrying internet traffic for hundreds of millions of people across the Middle East, East Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. Banking transactions, government communications, energy sector operations, healthcare systems, the ordinary digital infrastructure of modern life. Iran floating the possibility of controlling or interfering with those cables is not an idle threat. It is a signal about what the next escalation could look like if the 48 to 72-hour window closes without a deal and Trump's Situation Room produces a new military option. The message is clear. You think we have shown you everything we can do by closing the Strait of Hormuz? We have not started. Closing the strait disrupted energy flows. Cutting or controlling subsea cables would disrupt information flows. For countries across the region that depend on those cables for their digital infrastructure, the combination of energy disruption and internet disruption would be catastrophic in ways the world has not yet had to confront. Iran floated this possibility deliberately, publicly, as a negotiating signal, and it is sitting on the table alongside the frozen funds and the nuclear sites and the Situation Room meeting and the very major attack that has been put off for a little while, hopefully, maybe forever. Now let us step back and look at the complete picture of where every major actor stands tonight. Trump has called off a very major attack. He has given Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE 48 to 72 hours to produce a deal. He has simultaneously convened his Situation Room to plan what happens if they fail. He called Iran's previous proposal garbage. He has agreed, according to Iranian officials, to release a quarter of frozen funds and show flexibility on peaceful nuclear activity. He said he put the attack off, hopefully, maybe forever. Iran has submitted an updated proposal that Washington calls insufficient. Tehran says Washington is already moving toward its position. Iran hit a nuclear plant the day Trump was supposed to strike. Iran has floated the subsea cable threat. Iran is running a new government agency, the Persian Gulf Strait Authority, posting real-time updates of ship operations on social media while claiming to permanently manage 20% of global energy trade. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE called Trump personally. They are vouching for a deal being close. They are simultaneously absorbing Iranian attacks on their own territory. They have signed 10-year defense deals with Ukraine's drone technology. They are building alternative security partnerships in case American protection proves unreliable or unpredictable. And in Beijing, simultaneously with all of this, Vladimir Putin is signing approximately 40 bilateral documents with Xi Jinping, including pushing toward the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline that would send 50 billion cubic meters of Russian gas annually to China, creating an alternative energy supply chain that reduces Chinese dependence on Gulf energy that flows through a strait that Iran controls, a strait that America is trying to reopen through a combination of military pressure and diplomacy that has not yet produced a result. Every one of these actors, every one of these storylines, connected. The Gulf states need the Strait open, but cannot afford another Iranian retaliation wave if America strikes. Iran needs sanctions relief and nuclear flexibility, but will not surrender permanent control of the Strait. America needs the Strait open and Iranian nuclear capability reduced, but does not want a war that sends oil to $200 a barrel and destabilizes every Gulf ally simultaneously. China needs Gulf energy, but also benefits from an oil price that weakens the American and European economies relative to its own. Russia benefits from every day the Strait stays closed because elevated oil prices fund its war in Ukraine, while the world's attention is on Iran rather than Kyiv. And in the middle of all of this, a 48 to 72-hour window, a situation room meeting, a proposal Washington calls insufficient, a counteroffer Tehran says shows American flexibility, and a very major attack that is sitting on a table waiting to see what the next 2 days produce. Trump said hopefully, maybe forever. The intel room says, watch the next 48 hours. Because what happens in that window will determine whether this moment is remembered as the beginning of peace or the pause before the war became something none of the world's diplomatic frameworks were designed to contain. This is the intel room. If this video connected the dots that no single news report is connecting clearly enough, subscribe right now and hit the notification bell. We will be here every hour as this situation develops. And based on everything we covered tonight, the next development is coming soon. We will be watching.